3, 2, 1. All right. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. We are live, folks. We are live. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. Today we're going to be talking about how do you handle intimidation during a USCIS interview. And this is our episode today of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you for being here, and welcome. Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration law and to make the most out of their lives. Today, our theme is how do you handle intimidation that happens during a USCIS interview? And my question is, do you want to get an extra level of protection? Do you want to see how we could defend you? Do you want to see what strategies might be best for your situation to help you come out of the shadows, fix your immigration case so that you can move on with your life? Because if so, go for it. And if so, I'd love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years. We'd love for your case to be one of them. Okay? So thanks for being here, everybody. If you have questions as I'm talking about this topic, please submit your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. The news, of course, I'm filming this. It's the 14th of January of 2025. It's January. We are less than 1 week away. We are exactly 1 week away from Trump 2.0. All right? And so, there's a lot of moving parts in the world of immigration. We received news that raids started actually last week. Okay? ICE is talking about mass deportation efforts. There's rumors that some of those might be reinstating ICE raids at work. The Day One plan, all right, according to Tom Homan at least, Trump's new border czar, Day One, they're going to secure the border. They're going to end the CBP One app, at least as we know it right now. They're going to end the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela parole program, CHNV parole program, they refer to it as. They'll end what they call, quote-unquote, catch and release, which means that they'll catch immigrants, but they won't release them, all right? They'll detain people that are crossing the border. And it likely means that, and it's likely that they will reinstitute the Remain in Mexico program for people who are coming into the U.S. hoping to seek asylum at the south border. They'll say, remain in Mexico, and we'll give you your hearing virtually from Mexico and allow you to come in only if you win that hearing. And so we're going to see if that happens. That happened under the first Trump administration, you will remember. Okay? So that's news, and news is going to be happening, folks. It's going to be happening. And so as changes come, right, my invitation to each of you is to please stay in communication. Please stay in touch. All right? And so as changes come in the world of immigration, please subscribe to our channel. Please stay, please hit the notification bell when you subscribe to our channel so that you can receive a notification about news and updates and things of that nature, so that you can stay informed, so that we can stay in communication about changes that are happening in the world of immigration law. All right? So now I'm going to talk about the topic. As I talk about this, if you have questions, just ask them. All right? I will do my best to answer them all. So my topic today is how do you handle intimidation during a USCIS interview? And this is real, folks. This happens. Like, imagine you're a newly married couple. You're married to a U.S. citizen. Imagine maybe you don't have any children yet. Or maybe you don't even want to have children, right? And imagine you maybe didn't date for that long before you got married. But you're in love, and then your spouse petitions for your green card. And now imagine you go into that interview and the officer is rude to you, doesn't believe you that you're quote unquote really married, starts asking you questions like, well, what color is your spouse's toothbrush? Or what was the last meal you ate out together? Or what side of the bed do you sleep on? What side of the bed does your spouse sleep on? Etc. Like, these questions do get asked in marriage-based interviews. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they do. So when you're in an interview and you're feeling that kind of confrontation from a USCIS officer, how do you handle it? What do you do? Right? Like, first of all, you got to know, right? You've got to know that immigration officers are often, or maybe always, a bit skeptical about the validity of marriage. They are trained to be skeptical of marriage. Immigration laws are skeptical of marriage. All right? This is common. It's unfortunate, but it's common, and it should be expected. All right? Also, you got to know, some immigration officers are rude. That's pretty common too. If you think about it, from their perspective, they don't have an easy job, right? The government sometimes, newsflash, the government sometimes is not an easy entity to work for. Okay? And so what do? You know, like, imagine going to the DMV, right? There are some sweet, wonderful people in the DMV, and there are some people that are just downright rude at the DMV, right? Same thing in immigration. You might say same thing everywhere. I don't necessarily believe that. But, you know, you can have somebody in front of you who's having a bad day anywhere, right? And so what do if your officer is rude, is mean, or intimidates you, or you interpret it as intimidating you in some way? Here is how I would talk through that. Okay, here's my advice about that. First, stay calm. All right, don't get angry. Don't get upset. Just stay cool, calm, and collected. All right? If you know you have a legally valid marriage, if you know you have a legally valid case, then you've got nothing to hide anyway. All right? The truth will set you free most of the time. Okay? The second thing is, don't be rude or discourteous back to the officer. That never helps anything. All right? It doesn't help. So don't be rude, just be calm. The third thing I want to say is, you want to know that you have some rights in this, right? You do not have to answer all of the officer's questions. Like, you do have the constitutional right to remain silent. When you're in a USCIS interview, you got to know that if you don't answer the questions, it's possible that they could deny your case, right? Your application could get denied because the burden is on the applicant to prove that they're eligible for the benefit they're seeking. And so if you don't answer the questions, then they can take that against the case. But then at least there wouldn't be like further evidence of whatever you've said that they could then use against you. So in certain instances, the best thing is to stay silent. Never to lie, but there are certain instances where you might stay silent. All right. The fourth thing you got to know is you have the right to ask for a supervisor to come into your interview. Do that, especially if you feel like the officer is being unfair to you, or have your lawyer do this. If you feel like the officer is being unfair to you, say, hey, time out here. Could we have a supervisor come in and observe the rest of this interview? Okay? I've done that a couple of times, okay, over the years. It's not common, but every once in a while, if an officer is pushing the envelope and not, kind of being, borderline inappropriate with their questioning, it's like, hey, time out, officer. We want a supervisor in here to observe. So that you can do that, all right? Fifth thing you got to know, you can ask for a pause during a USCIS interview. If you're uncomfortable, if you're upset by something, if you're triggered by something, like if you start to cry or like have an emotional reaction to something that happens in the interview, or if you're just like staring a blank and like all of a sudden nervous or something like that, you can just say, hey, officer, could I please take a moment? Right? You can do that. All right? And there are moments where, there are moments where you take a restroom break if you need to. If you're uncomfortable for other reasons, you can ask for a brief pause. Okay? I got to say, always be honest during your interview. That doesn't mean you have to say everything. All right? Sometimes the officer doesn't even want to know everything. But it's better to be honest and truthful. Don't lie about anything. All right? Lying, of course, can come back to haunt your case forever. So don't do that. Okay? Are there any questions about any of that? Like, what questions are out there? Feel free to submit them. And thanks for tuning in, whether you're tuning in on whatever platform you're tuning in on. The best advice is to always have a lawyer with you in a USCIS interview. It helps to prevent this type of behavior, and it also helps you prepare and know what to expect. All right, I was preparing a client just yesterday for an upcoming citizenship case, and it's like, let's review everything in the application. Let's review the types of questions that they'll likely ask you. Let's talk about where to meet. Let's talk about where to go in. Let's talk about what to expect so that the client feels prepared. Okay? A lawyer can represent you, can help ensure that an immigration officer is doing their job properly, and a lawyer can help defend your rights and can raise violations of your rights up to the correct authorities. Okay? So I wanted to share that. That's really my topic for today. So let me know what questions you've got. Alex Morales, I see you here. Thank you so much. You say, with Trump being president, will my citizenship be affected? Since my parents are Mexican, thank you. So thank you for asking this question. The only way that citizenship can be affected is if they start processes called denaturalization proceedings. And the only way that they would do that is if there was a serious problem, some type of fraud, some type of lie, some type of misrepresentation, some kind of legal error in your citizenship case. Okay? And so as long as you're okay there, you should be okay. All right? If you're really nervous about it, feel free to call our office or talk to your lawyer or get a lawyer to just request and review all of the records. If you're really nervous about it, you could request and review all your records just to get good advice about it. But it's going to be fairly uncommon for the government. They're maybe talking about denaturalization. I did a training about this maybe a month ago, right? A couple weeks ago, and so you could watch that training if you really want to think about how denaturalization proceedings work and stuff like that. It's going to be fairly uncommon, all right? I don't want you to worry too much about it, Alex, but if you have an issue in your citizenship case, then and if you want to take that extra step, talk it through with a lawyer, request and review all the records carefully so that you could, be fully informed about your rights and what you would do in the event of the government trying to reopen your case and enter denaturalization proceedings. Okay, so Mike Johnson, I see you there. Good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you are in the world, right? Ruby, I see you here. I have not received my biometrics appointment. I sent my packet December 6th. It's an adjustment of status. Okay, December 6th. Right now it's January 14th. I like to say give it 60 days. Give it 60 days to receive receipt notices. They're probably on your way. Or if you have receipt notices and you just don't have your biometrics yet, your case, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. Like, don't worry about that. You know, I would say give it 90 days after the receipt. And then, you know, yeah, right now it's nothing to worry about, right? And if it's an adjustment of status case, yeah, okay. I'm glad that your case is filed. That's the most important thing. So Laura Rain 2024, hello, I see you, thank you for being here. I entered by Mexico after a month, went to Canada, didn't seal the passport again for re-entry. Is AOS an issue, or is the failure to get the passport stamped an issue for AOS? It's a good question, Laura. Thank you for asking this question. You know, you do need to show, by a preponderance of the evidence that you were inspected, admitted, or paroled into the United States on your most recent entry in order to even be eligible to apply for adjustment of status, unless you're covered by quote-unquote 245I. If you have a B2 visa, which I see you do, and if they didn't stamp it, you can show your visa. You can show at least one of the I-94s that they issued. If you entered through an airport, or if you entered through a checkpoint where they at least scanned your passport, you might have an electronic I-94. You could do a search online, CBP, which is Customs and Border Patrol, and then put in the I-94 in like a Google search, and the I-94 website will pop up. You can put in your passport number and at least get the printout of your travel history there. And you know, my guess is that you'll be fine for adjustment of status. The real issue is when you enter as a tourist and then apply for adjustment of status after recent travel. I mean, the real issue is, well, might they say that you violated your tourist visa? Because if you were intending to adjust status in the U.S., then by entering as a tourist, you weren't really a tourist, right? You were intending to live in the U.S. And so that's a slightly different issue than just the stamp in your passport issue. And that's one where you might want to talk it through with a lawyer and get good advice about when would be the best time to file this adjustment of status, okay? And so that's my best answer to your question there, Laura, and thank you for asking it. Madi, I see your question here. An I-601A waiver just sent yesterday. What's next? Okay. All right. Well, congratulations on getting it sent out. I-601As, I mean, you're talking 3 to 4, maybe even more years, right? 3 to 4 years approximately of a process. All right. And so really what's next is first they'll send you receipt notices with a case number. And you want to hang on to your receipts and your case number. All right. Then they'll eventually send you biometrics, an appointment to go get your biometrics taken, your fingerprints, your photo taken, just to make sure that you are you. Okay. Then after that, your case will be dormant and pending, waiting for an officer to review it for months and years. And after that happens, then they will either send you a request for additional evidence if they need anything else, or they will approve your case, or they will deny your case. And then you can know what steps to happen after that. Hopefully it's approved, and then you can move forward with the consular process to leave the United States, go to your country of origin to receive an immigrant visa, hopefully, you know, from the consulate in your country. All right, that's the way the I-601A process works. So best of luck to you, Mary, with that process. And if you need help in any part of it, feel free to give us a call. We're here to help. We'd love to help. Okay? Let's see. William Brand, is this immigration into the U.S. or into another country? Great question. So my office, so I'm a licensed attorney and a certified specialist in immigration law in the U.S. All right? I'm actually certified as a specialist by the State Bar of California. All right? Licensed attorney for a little over 14 years. So I only do U.S. immigration law, right? We fight for the rights of immigrants here in the U.S. So if you're looking to immigrate to a different country, the best advice typically is to find a lawyer who's good and who knows the law in that country and then they can give you good advice about whatever process or options or strategies or whatever might be the best way to get a visa or a green card or the green card equivalent in whatever country you're wanting to move to. All right? And thank you for being here. So it's Melis. Let's see. If my dad had an approved petition from 23 years ago, but they were removed from the package, does this help? It was from 2002. No, those are two different people. Let's see here. If my dad had an approved petition from 23 years ago, that's 2002, but they were removed from the package, does this help? I don't think it helps. All right? It's Melis, I don't think that helps anything, right? 23 years ago, that would put it in 2002, there's an old law that's called 245I, all right? There's an old law that's called 245I. To be eligible for it, you have to have an approvable petition filed on your behalf before April 30th of 2001, all right? So if your petition is 23 years old, it wouldn't meet the 245I cutoff. And now the question is, well, would it help in some other way? You know, it's unlikely, possible, perhaps. We could check visa bulletins and we could look in, if we knew more facts, you know, it might be worth doing a consultation and talking it through and seeing if that is an option or seeing what other options there might be. Okay? All right. So T, I see you here. Good afternoon to you, or good morning, depending on where you are. Travelettes. Do you need 2 advanced parole documents if you have 2 pending cases, asylum and a marriage-based case? To travel and to come back in? No, you don't. All right, no, you don't. You can travel with 1 advanced parole application. It's simpler to get through your marriage-based case. The best advice, though, is that you want to maintain both cases. And so if you're traveling on a marriage-based case but you have asylum, the best advice is to not go back to your country of origin with your travel document, because asylum is saying you're afraid for your life to go back to your country of origin. And so don't travel back to your country of origin even with an advanced parole document is my best advice, without knowing much more specifics about your asylum case and your arguments and things of that nature. Okay? Pinky Sish, I see you here. What's the cost for a consultation with you? You know, so first of all, there is no cost for, we offer what we call a free evaluation, which is not with an attorney. It's an initial phone call with a member of my team who is very trained and smart and capable to at least give an initial assessment as to whether or not you have a case that we could maybe assist you with, all right? That is a free initial evaluation. And then the actual cost of a consult will range anywhere from $350 on the high end down to as low as $125 on the low end, depending on the type of service, all right? And depending on what we have bandwidth for, et cetera, and which attorney you're going to be meeting with, and a few other factors. And so, but it's a free evaluation, all right? And so anybody that's even thinking about, hey, you know, should I speak with a lawyer and what's it going to cost and all of that stuff, there's no harm at all in at least picking up the phone, having a free evaluation. It's typically about 15 minutes to see if you have a case that our office could help you with. All right? So, so there's that. Then, let's see, Maria Lacerda. So the other thing is, Pinky Sish, what's the cost of a consultation? Like, how can I say this? Don't go with a cheap immigration lawyer. All right, should I say that again? Like, really, sincerely, don't go with a cheap immigration lawyer. You want a good immigration lawyer. All right, especially as we're looking straight in the eyes of a new Trump administration. I mean, even under Biden, even under Obama, right? It's like immigration cases get denied. You're submitting something that's like, it has the power to change your life and your future for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for your loved ones, for the rest of your life. do it right, do it professional, do it well. Don't do it at a discount, right? That's my own like personal statement about that. It's my best. I mean, that's my best advice. All right. So Maria Lacerda, I see you. How many months to get a bona fide determination on a U visa? I applied in May 2022. You know, not an easy thing to predict, right? We've seen some bona fide determinations coming much quicker. We've seen some that have taken 3 to 4 years to receive. For the internet right now, I'll say 3 to 4 years. Okay? It's about right. It's about right. That's what our office has received them in about 3 to 4 years. We do have some cases where it's come much quicker than that. Okay? And so, but I can't just like depend on that. Every once in a while it'll come quicker. So, so that's my answer. Abernice. Yeah. How does USCIS determine if you get one or multiple entries on advanced parole? When you apply for advanced parole on your I-131 form, you check a box. Do you want a single entry or do you want multiple entries? All right. Yes, it's up to them to approve it that way, right? But initially, you have that control and you have the ability to say what type of advanced parole you're requesting. So always request multiple entries. All right? So Travelets, okay, thank you so much. Always so helpful, much appreciated. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right? So let me know what other questions are coming in. I see some other here on TikTok. I don't know if I've received all of these. My dad had, let's see, Is Malitz, my dad had an approved family-based case from 1998, but the lawyer removed them. Okay, that's different. And now I'm filing. That's different. If it's from 1998, that's like, how long ago is that? Anyway, that's different. So that's exciting. That 1998 qualifies under 245I, at least it ought to. And so, you know, you might be protected by 245I. You might be able to get a green card. You might be able to adjust status through that, all right? And so I would say do a consultation. Let's really look at the petition. Let's really look at all the facts of the situation. Make sure that you were listed as a beneficiary on that original petition, or that make sure that at least you were eligible to be a beneficiary under that original petition. And then, heck, maybe you are protected by 245I. That would be amazing. Okay? Let's see here. So, Jonathan, I see you. I-601A waiver, I-601, excuse me, waiver with a receipt from August 2023. Can I do anything to fast track it or move it faster? Typically not. All right? If there's like a crazy emergency situation where, you know, your spouse or you or someone is like dying, then yes, there are ways to request expedited processing. Even there's no guarantees that it'll be expedited. In the vast majority of cases, though, you just got to wait. Okay? Jazz, my daughter has a genetic condition and needs injections every day. Can I qualify for something? Okay, so this type of situation can sometimes qualify in immigration court for something called cancellation of removal, which you could talk to an attorney about if you're ever in immigration court proceedings. Or there are waiver-based cases that can be where you can show hardship. All right, it's typically like it really depends on the type of process that you're going to do. Jazz, the question, like, are you married to a U.S. citizen? That's maybe a fundamental question, because then a spouse could file a petition for you, and then you could use hardship to the spouse based on what your daughter's situation is, in your application for a waiver. Okay? So if we could help you with that, we'd love to help you with that. All right? My office we won a waiver. I think just yesterday I got another waiver approved. So we love winning waivers. All right? Let's see. Prime Rose. Let's see. My I-45 just got denied because they claimed that they didn't receive a response to an RFE. What do I do? All right. Well, you might need to reopen the denial. All right. Typically, you have 33 days from the date of the denial to file an I-290B motion to reopen the adjustment of status. And if you never received that RFE, then you can explain that in your request to reopen the case, ask them to resend the RFE, and then you can get your case back open. All right? Otherwise, your alternative is to refile from the beginning. Okay? But that's a really annoying situation. But we've had cases that were in that situation, and we were able to get it turned around and get it approved. Okay? So, all right, it's 10:53 in the morning Pacific time. I need to start wrapping up, folks. So thank you all so much for being here. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, like really, thank you all so much for being here. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. I want to just share, we're 1 week away, folks, from Trump coming back into power. And, are we ready for it, right? Are you ready for it? I want you to be, all right? Things are going to change. Things are going to move. I want you to stay informed. The best way that I can help you stay informed, at least, is if you take a second, go to our YouTube channel, type in Landerholm Immigration in YouTube. We'll pop up. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can stay informed, all right? I want you to know your rights. I want you to know what to expect. I want you to be ready, okay? And if my office can help you in any way, if we could start with a consultation, if we can request your records, if we can help you navigate to see what's the best strategy in your situation, we would love to do that. We can't control everything that will happen in the future in our lives, right? But we can take steps to be as prepared as possible. And you can know your rights, and you can have your attorney ready. Like, you can take steps to be empowered, even going into this. And I want that for you. Okay? So that's all I got here today. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, my name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. Thank you for joining our episode today. If you speak Spanish and if you want to join us in Spanish, I'll do the same episode in just a few minutes in Spanish. And until then, we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.